Hello and a warm welcome to HW News Network, your one-stop show, truth be told, for some engaging and thought-provoking conversation. The biggest story of the world is that the ceasefire has been announced. It's a temporary ceasefire of 14 days, which was announced by President Donald Trump. It looks like an 11th hour deal where both President Donald Trump and Iran have portrayed the last minute ceasefire deal as a victory for their nations. Ceasefire pauses a spiraling conflict that has upended the global economy and sparked a historic oil crisis. Now, what about the Strait of Hormuz? That becomes the next question. Iran's military will coordinate the passage of vessels through the critical Strait of Hormuz during the ceasefire. Iran's foreign minister Abbas Araghchi has said this, and Trump said that reopening the strait was a key condition of the ceasefire deal. Now, what happens next? Pakistan's Prime Minister has invited delegations from both Iran and the US to Islamabad for talks on Friday. And earlier Tuesday, Pakistan had proposed 2-week ceasefire to allow for diplomacy. Now, Lebanon has not been included. Israeli military today said that it will continue its intensified ground operations against the Hezbollah in Lebanon. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office has claimed Lebanon was not part of the ceasefire, despite Pakistan's Prime Minister saying it is. So this is the crux of the situation right now. But what we should be worried as a country like India is the tweet which was put out by Donald Trump. And in very clear words, the very first sentence acknowledges the efforts put by Pakistan Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir. I'm just going to read out what Donald Trump said. The very first line says, based on conversations with Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and Field Marshal Asim Munir of Pakistan, and wherein they requested that I hold off the destructive force being sent tonight to Iran and subject to the Islamic Republic of Iran agreeing to the complete, immediate and safe opening of the Strait of Hormuz. I agree to suspend the bombing and attack of Iran for a period of 2 weeks. This will be a double-sided ceasefire. The reason for doing so is that we have already met and exceeded all military objectives and are very far along with a definitive agreement concerning long-term peace with Iran and peace in the Middle East. We received a 10-point proposal from Iran and believe it is a workable basis which is to negotiate. Almost all of the various points of past contentions have been agreed to between the United States and Iran, but a 2-week period will allow the agreement to be finalized and consummated. On behalf of the United States of America, as president and also representing the countries of the Middle East, it is an honor to have the long-term problem close to a resolution. Thank you, Donald Trump. This is what he has said. Now, what does this moment actually mean for India? Is there a reason to celebrate for India? Because obviously the crisis is over. A 39 days war, which has ended. It also brings an end to the crisis which India was facing as a nation, as far as the oil and the gas crisis is concerned. But diplomatically, is India at its weakest footing? That is what the question we are asking. For us, Pakistan was a rogue nation. It was a terror state, which we as a nation have always been criticizing. Remember Prime Minister Manmohan Singh, how he had isolated Pakistan on the global stage. But where has Prime Minister Modi landed Pakistan on a stature which the world is acknowledging today? This is what we'll be talking about over the next half an hour. So joining me this evening is a very special guest, Congress admin in charge and CWC member Gurdeep Sappal joins us. Gurdeep has been writing consistently on this Iran-Israel war and crisis which India is facing. Thank you so much, Gurdeep, for joining. And my first question to you is, what do you feel after looking at Donald Trump's tweet, where in the first line, he acknowledges the efforts put by Pakistan's Prime Minister Shahbaz Sharif and also Asim Munir?
Well, first of all, the entire world is relieved that there is some way forward in this conflict. It may be a temporary one, it may be a pause in the conflict to explore the solution, but the entire world was at the receiving end. And we were all worried after yesterday's Trump's threat to Iran, where he used some very, very objectionable phrases like He wanted to obliterate a whole civilization. And from there, within few hours, this proposal for truce is something as a big relief. The fact that it has been brokered by Pakistan should be a cause of worry, because now there's an access of China, Pakistan, USA, and this access is worrisome for us because our friend was Iran. Iran was not friendly with Pakistan. We were friendly with Pakistan. Modi government has ceded that space. That space is now with Pakistan. And that is something which should worry our policymakers. All our diplomats today must be actually really worried about how India has handled the entire thing, given up its role in international arena and given up its moral position in international arena, and also has stepped back from both sides of friendship. We are just a bystander. जिसको हिंदी में कह सकते हैं, आज की एक गाना याद आ रहा है कि कारवां गुजर गया गुबार देखते रहे. तो this is the situation which sums up the position of Indian government today.
Gurdeep, for the last 39 days, what we have seen on the part of the Indian government is that Prime Minister Modi has been dialing telephones to the Gulf countries. He's been speaking to Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian, and he's also been using 2-3 very cliched sentences that we believe in dialogue and diplomacy. Now, what about those efforts? Because they were trying to make it visible that India is trying to put in efforts, India is trying to stop the war. But when we see what Pakistan has emerged into and what Pakistan's stature is, do you think that this is really a very shameful situation for India, and especially India's foreign policy, the way Prime Minister Modi has handled it?
You see, our government committed the mistake by unilaterally gravitating towards Israel and US during the first 3 days of the war. It committed a grave mistake by not condemning the assassination of Ayatollah Khamenei and the assassination of 176 plus girls in a school. Iran was our friend, and suddenly Mr. Modi, without any consultation within the country, without any prior indication, just swerved away from Iran and became it as a lackey partner of US and Israel. After a few days, when it became clear that Iran is not giving up, after a few days when it became clear that the regime change is not happening, that Iran is not going to be facing the same fate that of Venezuela, so then some wisdom dawned and some correctives were taken by government of India. But by that time, Modi government had lost the maneuvering space that could have been used by for India's intervention in this matter, because we were the nation which were historically poised for proper intervention. We were the nation which were on goodly friendly terms with all the nations involved in the conflict, be it Iran, be it US, be it Israel, or be it the Gulf countries. So that maneuvering space was for India, but by an inexplicable turn that Mr. Modi took in the first 3 days of this war, that opportunity was lost, and it is lost, and unfortunately, the beneficiary was Pakistan. And suddenly, Pakistan, whom Modi government wanted to make a pariah state, a state which sponsors terrorism in India, suddenly that state of Pakistan is now seen as a lead nation negotiating between the various parties, despite their troubled history with Iran. So this is something which should worry now even the Modi government.
Right. I mean, if you're there backstage, can we have that statement which was put out by Tehran? Because that is also very important. And then we'll try and make a comparison of what Donald Trump has said in his post. And this is the official statement of Iran on the screen for you, where they say, on behalf of the Islamic Republic of Iran, I express gratitude and appreciation for my dear brothers, Prime Minister of Pakistan, Shahbaz Sharif, and Field Marshal Munir for their tireless efforts to end the war in the region. In response to the brotherly request of PM Sharif to his tweet, and considering the request by the US for negotiations based on the 15-point proposal, as well as announcement by POTUS about acceptance of the general framework of Iran's 10-point proposal as a basis for negotiation, I hereby declare on behalf of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. If attacks against Iran are halted, our powerful armed forces will cease their defensive operations. For a period of 2 weeks, safe passage through the Strait of Hormuz will be possible via coordination with Iran's armed forces and with the consideration of technical limitations. This is what Syed Abbas Araghchi, who's Iranian foreign minister, has written as an official statement put out by Tehran. Gurdeep, now look at Donald Trump's tweet and then you look at the Tehran statement. Are both the countries sending out a very, very clear message to India? Not in very clear terms, but it's there for everyone to see.
No, this is not a hidden fact anymore that India was not on the table and Pakistan was on the table. This is not a hidden fact anymore. What it should force the Modi government to do introspection. Why did we arrive at this stage? Where did we miss the bus? And problem with Mr. Modi is, and in general with RSS and BJP, is that they think that whatever this country has achieved in the last 70 years during Congress rules was something that they cannot appreciate or that they cannot take experience from. The entire positioning of BJP RSS is that everything that this country has done should be undone and now redone. They have taken the wisdom from US and Israeli intelligence and were misled by them, but they failed to go by the advice and the experiences and the wisdom which was in-house, because India has played an important role internationally, not now, not in the last few decades, but right after independence. We were a moral force. What India was, India's entire foreign policy is a legacy of Mahatma Gandhi and Jawaharlal Nehru. And even when we were a very poor nation, even when there was nothing in India, we were a very poor economy, we were just developing as a new republic, when the country was even disintegrated into princely states. Even at that juncture, we had a voice. We had a powerful voice because that voice was based on a morally principled stand. And plus, added to that, the self-interest of India as a nation. These two things were now respect for that position. Earlier also, in matters of Ukraine-Russia war, they had to fall back again on the non-aligned positioning. And now also, they realize that whatever they tried to undo in that policy has not worked from India. In fact, it has pushed the Vishwaguru out of the entire procedure. And this is not happening for the first time. Earlier, when the US exited from Afghanistan and handed over the reins to Taliban, and India was a major player in that time. We were rebuilding. We were in the entire parliament, the capacity building of the Afghanistan. We were a major player. We had invested billions of dollars in Afghanistan. But when this decision happened, Pakistan was on the table, China was on the table, Russia was on the table, but India was not there. So it has been happening repeatedly. The claims of Vishwaguru do not align with the real achievements or real story of the foreign policy of this government. And this is a repeat of that.
Gurdeep, today it's also now time to look back at the kind of statements which came from the foreign minister also. You remember the all-party meeting where he had called Pakistan a Dalal state. And that was the kind of statement which came. Now, is it time now to also react to a statement like this? Do you think that there will be some sort of a regret on the part of the Indian government as far as their policy towards Pakistan has been?
You see, history will record these statements of Mr. Jaishankar as something that the country will be ashamed of. We should not forget one statement that he gave a few years back when asked how to combat China. He said, China is a very powerful nation. What can we do? And you see the statement of Iranian foreign minister when he said that US troops will be coming. He said, let them come. Let them come. They'll see what happens to them. The language of confidence, the language of self-esteem, the language of a nation which is assured of itself is always missing in the statements recently given by Mr. Jaishankar. And now when he tried to do a glib talk and try to ridicule Pakistan by saying that it's a Dalal nation, then what Mr. Jaishankar was doing, it was trying to cover up the failure, but also dissociating from all the achievements of Indian nation in past 7.5 decades. India was always a powerful voice. We are the ones who non-aligned movement against the major players of the Cold War. So was that a dalali or was that leadership? We were always there in the forefront when the entire Africa was fighting against apartheid. We were a powerful voice in support of the movement against apartheid when the anti-imperialism movement was going on in the world after we became independent. We were the biggest supporters of that movement. So we were never afraid of what US would do or that time what UK or French or Spanish will do. They were powerful nations that time. India was never afraid. This statement coming from Foreign Minister of India earlier that we were, what can we do with a powerful nation? And now that any leadership in negotiations is a act of dalali is something very shameful. Now what is happening is that you have ceded that entire space to a country whom you wanted to isolate. Let us not forget how Dr. Manmohan Singh isolated Pakistan after the Mumbai attacks. The entire world stood with India. Major Pakistan allies, they criticized Pakistan's action that time. And now what happened under Mr. Modi? That after Operation Sindoor, where after Pahalgam attack, which was and after Mr. Modi sent teams of all party MPs throughout the world to place India's position, an election takes place in United Nations Security Council for its rotating chair. Pakistan gets 182 votes. Only two nations voted against Pakistan other than India. So India had only two allies effectively. And Pakistan, whom we were trying to isolate as a promoter, as a protector of terror in India, was elected as a national, as the chairman of the UN Security Council. Pakistan, which was on FATF list as recently as 2018 for supporting terror, is now leading the negotiations in UN and leading negotiations in Iran war. How this happened? This country has to ask the question. And the problem is that the entire brilliance of foreign external affairs ministry, entire wisdom of our diplomats has been reduced to just organizing events for Prime Minister Modi when he's abroad. Other than that, there's no other achievement in foreign policy of this government in last 20 years. Today, see, every nation, even Bhutan is now aligning more and more with China. Bhutan is giving China a space to build infrastructure, overseeing the chicken neck which connects the mainland with the northeastern states. This never happened before. Maldives, the government contested on an agenda that said that they will force India out, and then they won, and India had to vacate that space. Bangladesh today is not with India. It was an ally, which was our ally since its creation as a nation, and it's not with India. Nepal, the new regime which has come, has no links with India. India always had a role in Nepal. It's not there. So it's not one area. And last thing I'll say, India last year was the chairman of G20. This year it is the chairman of BRICS. What was the role of the chairman? It was to use that platform to bring around these nations to the negotiating table. That was the platform was with India. The past credibility was with India. The moral stature was of India. But the day Mr. Modi decided that despite being the chairman of BRICS, in effect, BRICS was created to counter the hegemony of US, and India was the chairman of BRICS, and not just chairman, India is the country which shaped BRICS, which conceptualized BRICS. And Mr. Modi diluted it and went to US. And that is why he has lost all the space to negotiate, to maneuver, and to ensure that India's stature is enhanced in the International Committee of Nations.
News.